pencils at the ready. Well, two at least. Listen, it's not gonna be an easy time for anyone. There's already a lot, just a lot, constantly going on in the world recently. But hey, there's still rainbow pastures. And here we are. Now going to simply... I was about to say eat our curds and whey, but I don't think that's how the nursery rhyme went. Sitting on curds and whey. It's fine. We live in a very different era than what we once had. It happens. We get it. Oh. Don't you dare fight me, camera. I have put so much lighting on. I'm not gonna sit and hold... Oh, wait. Okay. Apparently sitting and holding a giant light over top does in fact help the situation. Look, it's not the era of the boomers anymore. It's now the era of robots. Which is a time and a place for sure. But is it the place we actually dreamed of, we want it to be? I think not. I think it's a very different time, especially compared to all of what we've seen in the past. And with it comes many different challenges. For many, it was already considered foolish to take art as a path in life. We have so long romanticized basically artists being in pain, which is pretty unfair. Like, come on. Everyone else is allowed to, like, work a job and be respectable, earn living wages, etc. And yet, that's not actually as much the case as we'd like to believe it was. Or even to currently be. There's no real specific objective in this image. We're just gonna kind of feel it out and let it all flow. It would be wise if I actually brought up the chat box, though. The various setups all have their own shenanigans. Well, that's definitely one way to have a chat box up. Covers half my screen. It's a battle. But the times are always a-shifting. So what do we do with that? Do we simply throw out all of the past in favor of something new? Well, I mean, the past, the present, or the future, it all kind of gets jumbled up, one and the same. A little bit troublesome like that. It gets entangled, entwined, and then it becomes one and the same, yet also different. So often are humans guilty of this notion that our situation's so unique, never happened before. Well, hey, what do you think happened with photography? Artists everywhere were freaking out. They're like, no one will ever buy or touch a painting again. That's clearly not the case. And yet the discussions were the same. Classic essays like, discussing the aura of art, or like a physical piece of art traditionally made versus a photograph, of how it doesn't have aura, etc. Classics in the art history realms. And yet, we still have plenty of room and place for photography. What we often get forgetful of in the arts field is artists are known for taking whatever weird technology, materials, ideas that were never intended to be used by artists and making them a staple of art creation. So many weird inventions and things come from essentially artists just repurposing technology and other bits to their own purposes and needs. It's kind of inspirational. And yet it also shows this continual resilience. In all honesty, it gets lost in the sauce if you just keep harking on if AI is or isn't used. It's about why it's used. It's about why an image was valued or holds importance. Is the value in the production? Is the value in the care? Is the value in the person? To be honest, a lot of legislation is slow to catch up. And most of it, frankly, has been kind of just mean to everyone all around. I'm not fully up to date on everything, but I know there was a huge, outcry from musicians in the UK and European Union countries as well, over essentially their music being given as free data for AI models to feed off of, and they had to forcibly choose to opt out of it. It put the onus on the person making it to attempt to prevent something from happening with what should have already been protected. This was copyright music, fully copyrighted, all these agreements, etc. And they were just like, yeah, you can have that for free, but if you don't want that, you have to tell them that they don't get to have it. And it's like, once it's already gone, it's gone. And that's where it gets troublesome. For the most part, as far as I know, there's next to no ethical way to really use AI art or even generate something with it. There was, at some points, isolated models where you could use only your own stuff to make something from it. But still, it's a starting off point versus a be-all end-all. It can be a tool. AI can be helpful. Speed up a process. Remove certain redundancies that can get finicky and annoying to figure out. Like anything 3D work. Oh my goodness. Once you've made the basic node system, you just kind of want to be able to repeat it and then add whatever modifiers you want. You don't want to sit and attach every single plug to each part in the sequence to make it give whatever specific effect. That can be super helpful. At the same time, there is a certain point that it's no longer a tool, it's being used in place of thoughts. And that's where things have gotten even more messy. It's no longer simply about using AI to, look up information quickly. It's hit a point in which AI can either gather enough information about ourselves to parrot ourselves back to us for whatever means and purposes it chooses, or it can essentially be the be-all end-all of it becomes us. The goal isn't to replace ourselves, nor be reliant on it. The goal should be to improve and move forward, and avoiding some hiccups and whatever social goofiness kind of is a part of the human experience. It's what's valuable in life. And this goes beyond just art. It's not simply a philosophy. It's more about just being human. We're not designed, nor should we be being asked to be the machine. What we should be is a person. course correcting, finding our own path. And all of those things come from the mistakes and upsets in life. The point is not to skip through whatever upsets or hardships. They must be dealt with. They must be faced. They're a trial and tribulation in their own right. They're that reminder of how to redirect ourselves, figure out where we must go, or what we want to do next. Harking on them is only just being stuck at that point and not moving forward. And so what we must do is move beyond our first limitations, our first stopping points of fear or upset, and reach the next hurdle. Don't re-cement and rehash the old upsets. Move forward. And while, yeah, that can be scary, you're gonna do a bunch of things that you have no idea how to do. You won't know how to do them until you simply do them. And that's the growth point. Don't be mad and angry about the pains and upsets, the growing pains. They're simply a part of growing. Be upset that you don't learn the lessons faster. The faster you learn them, the less difficult they have to be. The less pain they have to throw in for you to learn. Listen, as a Taurus, I tend to be defaulting to the stubbornness. That's why, despite realizing I need to communicate more, that is only hurting me and giving away all my power, one of the first things to go when I'm like kind of hitting a wall or something and just not moving on from whatever lesson I have to learn is communication. It's always one of the first things that'll go. And it's one of the slowest ones for me to recover throughout many times. I've had this rodeo and dance many a different eras. And yet I'm still resistant to just listen to the sign and figure things out. That's on me. That's because I'm being stubborn and not resilient. We need to have the flexibility, the ebb and flow. Because if the world is crazy and constantly changing, we gotta be able to react just as fast. Make up the difference. What on earth is this image? Well, it's something. Okay. What if we add more arms? So what if this became like another arm? Okay, we've got extra limbs now. Bam. Oh yeah. We shouldn't get lost in the sauce. Not completely. There's so much buzz in the air, of especially anything negative. It becomes a huge echo chamber. And it's like, once you get the information, you kind of got the base information. You get the idea, you get the sentiment, the message. You can decide if it's worth more investigation or not. But ultimately, like, you figure things out, and as I'm attacked by the light, and you carry on. You decide what your own next steps are, of where it is you want to go or what you want to do. No point in harking on it. It's better to normalize the conversation of was AI used or something, this and that, and how, and people can make their own judgments on things. Because the more we put a barrier to having any sort of conversation, the more we just essentially stop there from being any productive conversation. If it wasn't such a yelling point for people, would we really care about having to, like, label if AI was used in something or not? I think not. Like, it'd just be like, I used a camera to take a photo, woo. It's the same type of sentiment. Like, if you take away the power with the sensationalization and upset, and make it just a normal thing to disclose or say, then it's no longer something to shout about. It's no longer the same upset. There's no longer such hostility towards disclosing such information. It all becomes a question of what are you going to give your value into? What are you going to make into the point? What's your idea worth to you? I, for one, don't enjoy the current setups of AIs and stuff. Plain simply because it doesn't give anyone protection. There's no way that within my ethics code that it's ethical to really use for artworks and things. Which is annoying because it's like, you could do something cool with it. But as it stands, it just doesn't align with what my values make of it. Because I can't have it be entirely isolated or independent. And I want to give my power and energy to something that not only affects my own, like, agency and license and images, because I know just as well my work can easily be taken by other people through AI, etc. I want to give that my time and energy when it's hurting not only myself, but others. And that's where it becomes a simple matter of, what's your idea worth? Is it simply a throwaway joke that you don't care, and you just want, like, a stand-in concept thing? Or is it something you value, something that's worth your time, your thought, let alone someone else's thought? And that's where the tools are getting mixed up, I'd say. Because frankly, I don't think I want to go to an AI and ask them, like, build this specific world that I have in my head, this vision, this idea. Because then it's not my vision. It's not my world. It's not my idea. It's not navigating my experience. It's not navigating my values. It's the replacement for human time with robot time. And I think the whole point of AI at the start was to give back more time. Time is the only thing we don't get to take back and re-exchange. Once it's gone, it's gone. It's the biggest finite resource. And yet, instead of getting back time from it, it's more so just become a way of not caring about time. Instead of an empowerment to regain a resource or prevent extra expenditure, it's become a way of not caring about said resource. People that'll sit and throw about AI the most usually treat it as laziness. Most bare bones method to most effectively get to whatever idea or end goal thing, etc. There's no human care, there's no human heart in it. There's just set up a thing and let it do it all and ignore it. And that's where it gets even more upsetting. They couldn't even be bothered to care. They'll take all the things from people who actually were willing to care, give their time, effort, and dedication to, and then they can't even bother to care about it, and that they're the ones profiting from it. It's just gets gross. Now, I made that hand maybe backwards, but maybe this is the back of the person. Yeah, we'll go with this as the back. This is a back. Their head is just like turned sideways. Haha. Yeah, so then this one has to be thumb this side. Haha. Humans sometimes know how hands work. Goodness, oh my gosh. Okay. Like, that's... It's a happening. If you have a vision and concept for the world, why would you not care about it? If you want it to be seen, to see it for yourself and make it real, why are you throwing it into an AI? AI doesn't care about your idea. It doesn't think it's cool. It won't value the concept, the meaning behind it, the associations you have with different elements and images. There's no attempt to navigate your reality, your world, as you see it or live it and experience it. Send it to an artist. Or art it up yourself. Listen, this is literally just a pencil on paper. There was no base concept. I just threw a bunch of squiggles into a thing with the basis of sort of a human figure. And now we've got extra arms. Like, it doesn't take that long. What takes so long about art is realizing it. That, in all honesty, once you figure out the principles you need to know, it's really just a matter of execution. Yeah, maybe mess with these ones too. Plain and simple. Once you know the rules, you know when or why you'll use them. You'll know how to break the rules too. And when it's effective versus not. The hardest part is figuring out why the rules are what they are in the first place, and what the actual balance between them is. That's the biggest hurdle. Because listen, there are so many times where I'm like, why is this a rule? I want to just break the rule immediately. It's one of those things of, the fundamentals are really important, but compared to mathematics where it's like, this number plus this number equals this number. It's so much harder to see that in art. It's like, you do these things for a reason, but you really won't see the reason until you see the reason. And it's one of those things that most often, it's you have to experience it. You won't just be able to piece it together in your head. One of the biggest disconnects for most people learning art is that you think you know what something like is or looks like, especially when you're trying to draw something, and you don't realize you've just made up almost everything. Like, this is one of those things of, I am not as spoiled with models as some people. I most often am a model for other people. And it's like, I sometimes forget, like, all these different little intricacies and stuff that you get from actually working with a model. Because, like, this entire figure, I've just made this up on the fly. Like, it's just a generalization of a form that I've made shortcuts in my brain to be like, this is how this works. Whereas if you stare at an actual, like, person doing this pose, it'll be so much different. There's gonna be all these extra, like, minute curves and things, and, like, shapes that you just didn't realize were there, because you weren't actually observing. You weren't actually paying attention. And that's the biggest misconception. Our brains lie to us so much. Like, LEDs, oftentimes, like, the dim versus bright for LEDs is actually just our eyes adjusting for frame rate in real time. And it's something you learn if you do animation. Most obviously, you'll see it that way then. Like, basically, a light being dimmer or brighter, especially with LEDs, it's just how fast or slow it's, like, turning on and off. We don't actually see it turning on and off. It's just, like, the frequency of it turning on and off. It's so fast. And that's the gist of it. We make up so much generalizations and distortions. It's a totally normal human thing. How else do we store all this information we get in a day? Like, it's the same thing even back before the technological eras. Before the televisions and that, like, Victorians did it too, man. There's still enough information in all experiences in life that you gotta generalize, distort, and, like, just drop off a bunch of information in everything you do. That's a reason why there's a difference between going for a walk and, like, having a moment in nature and experiencing a walk. Like, I am a huge walk person. I love my daily walks. That's why ideally I get 3 half-hour walks a day. I will just take my dog on, like, super long walks. But sometimes it's even too much for him. But it's like, there's a difference between I'm going on a walk, listening to music with, like, a goal in mind of, like, get to one place or another, versus I'm having, like, a contemplation and experiencing a walk in nature. When I used to commute to classes on foot, it's like, gotta get 2 classes on time. It's a hustle, I'm, like, bopping out to the music. But when the day's done, and you do the walk home, that's when, even if you're still listening to music, you actually get to take in your surroundings and have that, like, it's not even just a moment, it's that mind shift of you are in this contemplation of mindfulness or meditativeness. Resistant as I am to the word mindfulness, because I had it explained very poorly to me, and at entirely the wrong moment. It was not the right toolkit when it was given to me, and it was super frustrating. And I've been so resistant to mindfulness ever since because of that. Because it's always existed for me. It's always been something I've done. It's just not accessed in the same framework for me. And that's where it was like, they weren't speaking in my world model to me, and it was just annoying. Telling someone to be mindful or something, this and that, is only helpful if it's something they feel they were being inattentive to. It's more helpful to just, like, taking time for themselves, giving themselves space, or even the world space of, like, forget the hubbub going around, just exist in a moment for as long as you can, and make it calm. Much more helpful than, like, be mindful of a thing when you can, like, calculate absolutely everything about that thing and be hyper attentive to it. There's a big difference in how that's gonna operate for different people. it's the same thing of why, like, sometimes the best thing you can do is not fixate on whatever thing you're, like, stressed out about or, like, goal-wise. You gotta be neutral about how you get to the end goal, and yet you still have to be working towards the end goal. Like, I've had experiences with other people before where they don't understand my bizarre, like, eating habits and patterns. And sometimes I feel it's like they're stuck in a specific goal or method of how they have to get there. Whereas I'm a lot more neutral in the process of I just have to get whatever food my body says it must consume. Like, most people don't go for 4 meals a day, but I have a fast metabolism, and I gotta do what I gotta do. Sometimes it's frustrating. It's like I prepare this meal so I'd have leftovers for the next day, and I just genuinely cannot eat it because I know if I eat the pasta with tomato sauce, I'm going to be sick. The tomato's just too acidic that day. And my body just is like, yeah, no. And I know that, and I sometimes still I'm like, no, but I gotta eat this pasta. And it's just not helpful because I literally was sick last night because I had pasta with spaghetti sauce, and I'm like, no, it's too much tomato, I shouldn't have done this. So it's having that balance point of, like, have your neutral substitute foods. Or, like, blueberries. Blueberries are so me. They are godsend. And that's the thing, it's like, you just gotta respect what your body needs. And you gotta work with yourself. You build it up over time, and it's like, okay, if you wanna shift out something, you gotta find what you're gonna replace it with. You can't just eliminate something that you normally eat. It's become more neutral in the process, and then more in tune with what you need as an individual, versus this monolithic idea of this is the be-all end-all goal. And it's the same with exercise. Like, I don't go to the gym because it just annoys me. It is not helpful for my well-being to go and, like, be a gym bro. Because then I'll just be angry that I can't do as much as the other people and stuff. Which is not healthy, because then I'll either overdo it and injure myself because I'm being reckless, or I'll just, like, be upset. And the whole goal is to do it for yourself. And despite the humor some people may take, and it's like, that's actually a joke, don't actually do it for yourself, that's a lie. It's, you have to do what aligns with you. If you don't enjoy running and you genuinely hate it, making yourself go and do running is not really gonna be the best answer, because you're never gonna want to do it. If you can spin running into something that you do eventually come to enjoy, then by all means. That works, that works. But it's like, for the most part, as someone who used to do a lot of, like, athletic training and stuff, I know I can do the running that. Doesn't mean I enjoy it as much. I enjoy walking because I can still get a bit of cardio if I, like, pick up the pace, because I walk really fast, in all honesty. But walking for me is more about, like, just being in motion. And having, like, that mobility to, like, go and be out in nature. That is the value in it. And if I'm getting exercise and stuff by doing that as well, then that works for me. And that's what's consistently manageable. Even in whatever sort of mundane routines. So that's what I do. It's finding the solutions that work in your life. And it's the same with all artwork and things. Not everyone's gonna have the means to sit and, like, paint a painting. Like, you don't always have the ventilation stuff you want, etc. But most people can have a pen and paper. Or like pull out a little tablet or draw on their iPad. Do a coloring book and markers. And if that is what makes you happy, then there's nothing wrong with that. And that's where the upset and distinction is. Is whatever you're making worth the time, effort, energy, or money exchange? Or is it not? Okay, it's a squiggle. But I don't know where the end goal of this image is. Wait, we can put wings on the front then. Haha! Now there's wings to contend with. Take that, pencil. We so often end up in our own echo chambers of yelling on the internet and opinions. We leave little room to find our own. To make our own ideas or connections with something. Sometimes we just get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life. And that's why it's good to just have those relaxing times. To be good at drawing a circle, you just have to keep drawing a circle. I don't know what to tell you other than just deciding a circle is going to be a perfect circle doesn't make it the perfect circle. Get all the bad ones out first. And that's honestly what is key. It's the repetition. It's if you care about your drawing skills or art, you make that time to practice it. Like Basil, even with his hectic schedule, he still practices like 5 different instruments every single day. He's got whatever work stuff he does. He goes to the gym like every day. He has like certain days in which he'll like go and visit like girlfriend or friends or family. And then he's still practicing like 5 instruments almost every single day. And that's what he cares about. He loves his music. If you think it's worth it, and you have the passion and care for it, you put your time, your effort, your energy, or your money towards it. Not everyone has to be whatever insane level art skill genius. Most people who make it aren't even like god tier skills. Oftentimes the most skilled people are entirely unknown. And yet there's still a path forward. There's still a place where everyone can find their own space. And that's the beauty of it. It was never a one and done solution. It's not a one art piece, style, medium, or idea is the be all end all. They all have their strengths, they all have their purpose. It's what makes one medium make more sense for a project or idea or the concept versus another. And if you want to better understand the connection between them, well, consult someone who's either worked in those like different mediums or fields, or like get someone who's a jack of all trades. Hydration time! Lump. this is the biggest confusion for most people. For some people, drawing a stick figure is like the god tier basis. Getting mastery in one medium, let alone multiple, is a feat that some people are like, that's unheard of, out of this world. To be honest, as a skill collector and jack of all trades person, the answer is mastery is never the goal. It's just how fast can you learn the fundamentals. A great example is painting and drawing. There's a lot of crossover between painting and drawing. If you're learning the fundamentals of like how to draw, and then you're doing like a beginning painting course as well. Oh, did I just put oh my god. I put ink on my monitor. How do I manage such feats? You're oftentimes like wrangling with like human figure. How do you build up this form for a human figure? Well, you start by learning to work with a negative space. So wherever the figure is like just pure white, and everything else is like just pure black that you fill in, or whatever color you're working with. And that's how you start to eliminate this concept of like, this is arm shape, versus you're actually looking and seeing the arm. I always thought it was a lie that you could like go like super slow and get like picture perfect detail for like the silhouette of someone. It's doable, it's possible. It freaks me out, but it's so manageable. You would not believe it. And so many people just assume they can't do it when it's like, no. You just had to slow down. And it's the same sort of principles you're working with for painting. In drawing, you oftentimes get stuck in this chunk down into like drawing the details or texture on something, depending on the scale. Or it's like you're building in the negative space and the positive space to figure out a form before you then construct these base skeletons that you build up from. And painting, it's like the same thing, except you now have all the colors of the rainbow. And so you get more of the focus on like how to blend your colors and values with like hues, not just in grayscale. You see the form in the grayscale of like, this is in shadow and light, and then you have to convert that over to be like, I'm working with neon yellow. And I will say this again and again. The way I managed to actually be able to tell, like, the grayscale value of colors is genuinely from recreating, like, a figure in grayscale using neon paper. We were supposed to have, like, just whatever sort of, like, colored gray papers to make this figure out of, like, torn paper bits. And I could not locate any such paper, so I just had this pack of neon colors. And oh boy, I was like, oh gosh, what do I do with this? The answer was, I took a single photo on my phone, converted it to like grayscale or like black and white, and I just looked at what all those colors looked like from that photo, and I was like, okay, I assigned like my arbitrary colors of like, I don't know, 1 through 6-ish. And I'm like, this is the dark, this is the light color, this is the middle, and these are the in-betweens. I closed my phone for that rest of that time, and just from that basic, generalized tonal value mapping, I made that entire image up from paper scraps. And my teacher, like, one of the few times they ever talked to me in that class, because they weren't really concerned with whatever I did, they're like, nope, you're doing your own thing, you're good, you got it. They actually came up to me during that project and were like, I think these values are, like, off. This is, like, brighter. These are the same. And it's like, no, trust me. I literally told them, trust me. I converted it with my phone. It's not what you're thinking. I know it looks the same because everything is highlighter bright. Just have faith. I know what I'm doing here. And sure enough, I showed them a picture, like, of the actual image translate into like black and white at the end, and they're like, oh yeah, no, you were so right. They are entirely different value keys. You're good. And it was just like, wow. And from that point on, it's like that so high key difficulty of figuring out like neon yellow from neon green in terms of like where it sits on a grayscale allowed me to then literally look at just any color pretty much ever and be like, this is this or that in a grayscale like setting. I can literally just transcribe it now. It's insane. And it just goes to show that sometimes those weird over-the-top examples are just the training grounds you need to figure things out. Like, who knew that would be what finally got me over that learning curve? And I think the best example of that is mixing colors. Listen, if you've ever met an oil painter, they'll often have like 1,000,001 little pools of the same color, and it like kind of shows each and every mixing step they did to get there. I don't do that at all. I'm a menace. For the most part, if I can make it once, I can genuinely just kind of go through each of the color steps. Oh, sorry. I heard mysterious noise. I was so confused. Each of the color steps, like, in my brain, and be like, okay, this obviously was a combination of these colors in these value tones, and then I just, like, add bits and bobs back and forth. It is insane. But again, it's just the amount of exposure I've had to it. You see something long enough, and then you figure it out over time from experimentation. It's a don't be afraid of the process. Whatever bizarre method you transcribe and translate stuff to make sense for you, that's your process. Respect it, and then see how you can translate that with other people's methods. It's funny for me because a lot of people in arts they're like high visuals, so like to talk to them, you've got to be looking right at them. Otherwise, they will not hear you. If they cannot see your face directly, you aren't talking to them, they have heard nothing. And it's like, yeah, if you, like, make images and stuff for a living, it makes sense that you would be, like, a fairly high visual, most likely. I'm not a high visual. I have a sense of aesthetics. I describe almost everything I do image-wise in terms of photography. Which, yes, the principles and stuff overlap, but I still literally, when I'm explaining something in my head, I visualize, like, if something has to have more contrast or be brightened, like, even if it's in color, I literally go by, like, camera thing. I'm like, okay, I'd have to, like, increase it this amount, and it's like I'm pushing a slider bar in my head, and I'm like, pop the contrast up or down. Like, it's that level of, I treat even drawn images as a photograph, which is very confusing and frustrating for many of my teachers. They were like, what? How? You can't call this a photograph. I'm like, but it is. And they're like, no. Oh. So fun. And it's one of those things of, it's about how you translate and transcribe stuff. Because, yes, a lot of people in the arts are highly visual. I am kinesthetic. And that is why I'm so much more a do-it-by-feel. It's like, yes, I can see if something is red or, like, more orange or whatever. However, it's more so a do-it-by-feel of, like, mixing inks, you're looking for a certain consistency. And it's like you're supposed to hear this certain sound, and it's gonna have like this textural look. And I've actually made inks pretty much from scratch of like base mineral colorings and everything else. So it's so much harder to figure out is this the exact consistency I'm supposed to get because it's not a pre-made ink? And the answer was texture. How did the actual body of the ink feel when I lifted some up? That's how I figured it out. I'm like, okay, this one is a good batch, it works, it's this sort of weight, it's got this viscosity, and that's how I mixed it by. I would just recreate that exact, like, feel textureness. Does this painting have the pop, the oomph, the pow it needs? No. What will draw that focus in? Well, upping the contrast in this area so it's more like poppy and pumpin'. That's genuinely how I work. It confuses people to no ends. And it's just simply like kinesthetic transcription. It's a bit of a synesthesia. It's like describing like emotional warmth and happiness as like fluffy. It's like, you're a fluffy person. So obviously it's like warm, snuggly, hug. It's taking the metaphor of like comfort in all its like textural elements of like care and warmth and treating it literally. Because those are like synonymous things in my brain. Again, all the weird things you figure out over time if you take the time to pay attention to yourself. Hippity hoppity. Art goes all flippity flappity. Alright, we're kind of getting there. At least some of the base image done. It's something. I'm just not sure what this last bit is going to be. Because we got this kind of dead space up here that's undetermined. So I'm kind of figuring out what's going to happen there. Because we got more of the interest points in here. At least started. The hands could have been more hand-like, but in all honesty, with whatever is going on in this image, it really didn't need to be. Let them be beglonkly. Woo. Okay, now I feel like I'm just making them wobblier on purpose. Whoa. Is that a hand? Wow. Wow, 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 wow. It's only gotten more Dracula and campy goodness. Yes, art can be all mysterious and hoity-toity, but it can also be just the greatest thing to make absolute disasters. There's a reason I enjoy drawing handsome Shrek and Squidward. It's so campy. It's just big, blocky, like, mega chin style, and yet it's so enjoyable. Oh, goodness. Alright. Oh, I didn't mean to smack the microphone. My bad. Oh, I have this hair storm of tangle. Meow. Ooh, okay. I can have some of the hair go over the finger, so it's like in between. And then we go, whoop. Okay, maybe a little bit goes over that one too. And this the strength in the back line because it's just looking like it's floating out instead of circling back like it should be. Okay, so we have what kind of looks like a human-ish thing. It's got some bibbledy bumps. I'm just gonna do the start of the eyes here. And these eyebrows. And then honestly, we'll like flip the camera. That way things will actually be facing you. Wow. An alphabet is soup. Oh, it helps if I Unlock the camera! Flippity flop. Meow! There we go. Alright, lock it in place now. So you see how it's like kind of this human thing. Kind of, just a little bit. Alright. It makes sense. It's got like extra arm packs, it's got, I don't know, a little ghost thing. It happens. Sometimes just add too many arms in the human drawer, I don't know. It's what do we want to do with this? I feel like I've been using this pen more than enough. So bippity boppity flomp. Bomb. Let's go. No, not this one. Okay, that's even more of a fiddly one. Actually, let's use this guy. Bam. Okay, I have more of a fine point nibbly bit. Yeah. So it's easier to get those fine lines now. Boop. Boop. There we go, a little ghost. Wow. What you thought was a cute little ghost then became an even cuter little ghost. Don't get stuck in the same echo chambers of noise. The good, the bad, and the grunkly. They all have their place. You figure out what you need, and you give yourself breathing room. I think that's the biggest upset with some of this discourse over like AI and artwork. No one's willing to talk on the internet or have a conversation. No one wants to, they just want to yell at each other. And so it just becomes like this huge echo chamber of whichever group yells the loudest and most. This is why anything negative is often a lot more talked about and circulated than anything nice and happy. We'll hark on it, we'll sensationalize it, and we'll continue to yell about it. And it just kind of makes things lame. Not as fun. Not cool. There's no discussion, there's no talking to actually be had, there's just yelling. Need to get neutral about stuff. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean you get to be mean to everyone else about it. There are valid concerns and things to be like weary of or safety. It's like, yes, must say this or that. But even then, it's like, there's a limit. There's a limit to tearing people down and fear-mongering versus being informative and ethical. You say your piece and then don't give any more energy to the upset for the most part if you can. You can reiterate your piece and stand your ground. But just constant yelling back and forth on the internet, not helpful. People won't listen to anything then. No one wants to. They don't got the energy for that. They don't want to deal with it. Yeah, I'm going to expand this shadow out a bit more. There we go. And very softly add this side. Bloom. Okay. So, we have something forming here. It looked fairly normal-ish. With the extra arm pack-ish. Let people have fun making their art. Let it be campy, let it be goofy. Does it make it more or less valuable? Was it a good time? Was it a flibble-flobble time? Was it an awesome time? Did it provide a laugh? A chuckle? Did it make you understand that Squidward can be a sexy man? And if you can find your enjoyment and entertainment, then who cares if it's a masterpiece? You got to do something and it was fun. And that feels more like what should matter. Okay. Let's attempt to make this like really scrunkly elbow joint. And then we can add like buffness. Made up buffness, because I don't feel like anatomy. Bam. I feel like there wouldn't really be a vein line from the shoulder. Almost definitely not. That's more of a like, not exactly cartilage. More of a like a bone joint part, a socket, so entirely unrealistic, but bam! Not gonna stop this drawing. Forgo all the rules. What on earth is this now? You know what? It's an extra arm pack. Did we expect normal arms? No. Only the Skrunkles live here. Bam! Look at that. It's a something. Wabloom. Wow, what a arm-hand choice thing. Oh my goodness, what on earth is this decision, me? You know what? Scrunkly ones. And we can be like, look, there was where the knuckle joints went. They exist sometimes. It helps if I actually spin the camera, so that my face isn't hidden when I stare through the light. Yeah, I have all the lights on this room, and even like a light right here, and that's the only way I can get it to like stop changing the focus. Magical. Boom, alright. Okay, we just like combine these and make it more squigunkly. Wow, look it's an extra elbowy joint. Boom. The elbow connector goes to the leg joint. Do not assemble your dolls incorrectly. It will have nefarious results. Trust. Trust. As someone who assembled, like, I want to say Spider Sun's, like, giant ring doll they got is, like, 3 feet tall. I had to assemble that dude for them. Like, it was a trying time. Because, like, the doll assembly itself was not that bad. Pretty easy to do with the last bit, like, stringing, get the clothes on. However, the stand would not stay, and it's like a bicycle stand to have the doll stand upright. It was a challenging time to, like, get this 3-foot tall doll to stand on his bicycle stand. I was like, bro, I need help. This tiny doll man-child thing will not sit, stand, whatever you want to call it. Oh. We did eventually get it to kind of work, but it was like, oh my goodness. So many limbs! The doll will just flibble and flobble everywhere, and I'm like, please, this is 3 feet of doll with no structural support to, like, hold it in place. I need help to hold that so it won't fall over whilst I get the stand to stay. Oh my goodness. Okay, we could have a normal arm, or this arm is actually an insect wing, of course. It was hidden right there in plain sight all along. Yeah. Bump, bump, bump. Now, if I remember, dragonfly wings are usually, like, kind of got this almost, like, squared off veining texture. I could make it more square, but I said no. Although, honestly, it's kind of fun. It gives it, like, a more techie squiggle vibe. Which, for, like, a robotic, extra human arm that's a dragonfly wing, I think that's fair. It makes sense. It's all a working out. Boom. Excellent. Unlike potato salad with eggs in it. Why did they put eggs in the potato salad? I disagree with that choice, but some people enjoy it that way. Boom. It's a wing-ish thing. Wing-ish thing. There we go. And now it just becomes one with this arm. Because obviously that's a part of the arm vein. Haha! Bet you didn't know this arm was actually part dragonfly wing plant. I didn't know either. But hey, it all worked out. Look at that. Dragonfly wing arm plant. Boom. And we can actually make this one, like, doll jointed. Get the ball joints in. And then we gotta do, like, doubly joint. No, I probably should put the joints further back. But you know what? It's fine. We got this. Meow. Look at that. It has finger folds. It does digits. Bam. Technological advancements. Okay, maybe I will descrunkle the fingers a little bit. No, there's no descrunkling it. It's too far gone. Well, that attempt died very fast. Oh, okay, wait. I have totally lost the sauce of, like, where the finger folds would be based on the joints. But it should be the transition point centers with the joints, and I just mucked it up every time. It's fine. Look at that. It has extendo claws. Oh my goodness. It works. It's fine. We're done. Yeah, there's so imaginary made up knuckles at the end now. Don't even think twice about it. Okay. I will just solidify the edge of this wing better. I mean, extendo dragonfly wing plant arm. What if this ghost was actually bubble gum? Oh my gosh. Bubble. Bubble. It's just a double conjoined bubble of gum. Boom. And I don't care that it looks like it's a floating spirit coming out of their mouth. It's double conjoined bubble of gum now. Magical. Fantabulous. Alright, let's actually deal with these arms a bit, I guess. Add a little bit of arm folds, I guess. Is an arm, maybe, kind of, sort of. Possibly. And just add that little bit more definition. But yeah, it's like, what do we want to do now with whatever weird state of the world technology and society is? I, for one, am kind of on, like, a 3-band brain length. Brain length. No, I meant to say wavelength. Oh dear. So, my thoughts are, like, again, for a lot of places and things, it's like, everything's saying like, oh my gosh, big bubbles go boom. And bubbles burst or whatever. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Is it gonna go back to like the blogging era? Because like, I think for the most part, the world does not want a repeat of the Great Depression. Like, that was rough and bad. However, the notion of like, when all this big bad chaos rumbles happen, we get what we usually call our renaissance right afterwards, or emerging from the chaos. So it's like, what would you like a renaissance to be in this day and age? It's a valid question. Do we want a renaissance of gingerbread houses? Or do we want a renaissance of, I don't know, chicken nuggets? These are things to consider. We have a lot different technology and stuff than the past. So it's a, what are we gonna do? What values and things do we uphold? History isn't all just like Rome, ancient Rome. You know, sometimes there's cool dinosaurs as well. And there's something to be learned from all of it. Even if the message is just like, y'all had bad fashion taste, or y'all had great fashion taste. Ah! What happened to Do Not Disturb? Alright. So, we have wingedy things. We have lines. Wow. So what now? What now, we say? Well, I think shading is the answer. Because none of this makes sense without a good shading. Because here's the thing with whatever big shifts in the world. It's like, we could go to a point in which no one has, like, monies. And that was the blogging era of, like, taste values were the biggest commodity. Or it could become, like, a shift in what people are willing to, like, put money towards. Maybe it's, like, those precious experience-based things you can't find anywhere else. If AI really is such a be-all, end-all that it's made up to be, and is such a huge staple now, then what is the thing that can't be done with AI? Well, a lot of experience-based things and in-person stuff. Or it could be a case of, like, the do-it-yourself, the hands-on experience type parts of there's different ways. For those with, like, the funds, you can, like, skip those steps by paying for something to be made or done. Whereas others, it's like the teaching the do-it-yourself, so they can make their own version. Those are kind of the three wavelengths, not brain lengths, that I'm kind of deliberating on, like, what I think makes the most sense. Because again, adaptability and resilience is the goal. I've seen a lot of sort of chatter here and there about, like, luxury brands and how they're mostly made at factories and stuff in China, and then just, like, certain label parts are put on in the other countries where they're supposedly made in. And it's like, I already just kind of knew that. I thought that was just a known thing for me, so I was like, oh, that's something people didn't understand or conceptualize. And I think I always default back to, like, my grandmother's definition of what luxury and stuff is. it wasn't necessarily about, like, big brand names per se. It's more often, like, trust in quality control in a way. What about... I might actually see if this one's easier to get ink out of, because it might be a little less stark. Ah, okay, still about the same. Like, for example, my family was always very particular about, like, dishware, because they had so much troubles with, like, dishes that would, like, chip and break. And it's like, you don't want to, like, drink glass that's broken from inside your glass. That's just understandably a bad idea. Whereas I, as, like, a younger person, was a lot less concerned about, like, brand name relationships with things. I'm like, is it pretty? Does it look good? Good enough. So, like, when I got a dish set, my grandmother had wanted to get me a set of dishes. And I was like, okay. Like, I wasn't really fussy or concerned about it. But I do have taste and style, so it's like, I didn't want just whatever plain dish. It's like, if I'm getting a dish set, I might as well get something that I actually like. And I did get a lovely dish set. It was not what we were expecting. Because, like, I think they had always gone with, like, Corel. And it's like, the Corel is a good make and brand. But they basically said anything that's, like, not, like, I think they had said not a porcelain or a china. I don't remember which. Or, like, I could do, like, stoneware. I think I ended up getting stoneware. I was just like, it needed to be durable, it needed to not break. And there's certain brands that, like, no matter where it's made, it's like they have enough of a history and reputation that it's a... They're not gonna break, they're pretty darn sturdy. And that's what you're paying for. It's the luxury of having something that lasts. Whereas other times it's just like, if I don't know, whatever sort of inexpensive heating pad is comfortable, functional, and safe to use, and that means you don't have cold feet and you can put a little heating pad on them at night, like, that's luxury. Just having, like, quality underwear that's, like, comfortable. That's luxury. Doesn't have to be the most fancy decorative thing. It's, you can feel the comfort, you can feel the good quality. Luxury is a feeling, it's the... You get to spend time with the people you care about, etc. It's enjoying time by yourself, curling up in a book nook. It is what you make of it. And that's where it's like, you gotta reach the point of, what's the enjoyments, what's the highlights? What are the things that you value? I love fashion a lot. And I finally reached the point where I'm just like, I have I have a significant amount of clothing. And the answer is, at this point, like, aside from repairing some stuff at times, I don't really need much base clothing. I have all different layered pieces, bits and bobs. I can kind of build up with whatever I want. And honestly, for the most part, either way, whatever it is I aesthetically seek does not really exist on the market, so I just have to make it myself. Or when I do buy stuff more, it's like, I'm going almost the very exclusive route. It's like, either custom or from very specific designers that I like their work. Like, I saw, oh my goodness, Puvitel. I saw that they were having issues because, like, they were no longer gonna be able to make certain clothes because of, like, tariffs and things. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I have always wanted to, like, get pieces from them. I love they're a Menhera fashion brand. And it's Menhera done in the light, not in the dark. So, quick explanation of misconception. Menhera is, like, an art movement, in a way, of fashion from Japan, about, like, mental health awareness and stuff, etc. In Japan, it's more so to like cute gore style, oftentimes, being a little more like graphic and sometimes violent in nature, aesthetically, of like looking sick. Whereas the actual overarching purpose of it is to be like commentary and advocacy for mental health. Whereas Puvitel is a North American brand, and they are much more in the light of it's like, it's still commentating on like mental health issues, etc., except it's like accessible. And that's the whole point. It's like anyone can wear it, fully adjustable petticoats for like any body or ability type deal. And it's like you can still have these sort of like anatomical or like bodily elements that could be graphic or gory, but it's done in a way that it's not like over the top or like an ick to look at. It's more like calm compared to the kind of over the top dramatic nature of some of the ones from Japan. So I really love their stuff. It's great. And I am so happy that I decided to finally just go for it and order something from them. So I'm super excited to share that when I eventually get my package. It takes a bit. And it's one of those things of like, fashion is so guilty of it. The fast-paced, like, switching in and out of one season to another for fashion can really be awful on so many ways. Fast fashion is just bad in pretty much every sense. It's good for accessibility to try different styles out, but it's not the be-all end-all. It should be treated as a, like, try something out, see your thoughts or feels on it, and figure out what you actually want. Because most fast fashion clothes are not designed to last. If you take good care of them and stuff, you can make some things last, or you can repair them, etc. But it's like, it's still a chore and work in of itself to do that. Whereas, like, I have some secondhand Lolita clothing that I've purchased over the years, and it's like, you really baby those. Like, it's going in a pillowcase to be washed on, like, the most delicate cycle, or I'll steam it, like, it's babied. And that's kind of what you gotta do at times. But at the same time, it's like, those clothes are really good and nice. And it's just a lifestyle thing. You gotta, like, know and buy what works with your lifestyle. Having some rough and tumble work clothes makes total sense, especially as an art person. I sometimes am absurd and will wear, like, silk clothes and stuff, painting with oil paint. But I have an apron. I make sure I have an apron, because I know what I'm like. And I still have to be extra careful on such days, but it's like, I have a plethora of just, like, kind of work clothes, or just old clothes and tie-dye shirts I've done. They're exclusively just for, I'm about to roll around and paint stuff. And that works for me. And that's all that those items have to be. Whereas, like, the rest of my clothes, it's like, I can baby them. And I can, like, look after things better. And still be fabulous. So, slow fashion and just making the things that are actually what I really want. Okay. This honestly is... it's getting there. It's pretty good. Oh, okay, I went way too much with the ink now. I was hoping to dilute it, and instead I got a massive blob. Love that. It's blobs we're up against, apparently. This is the thing. This is just filled with ink, and it's like you can dilute it, by adding more water, or I could get water to dip it into. But both of these I have on hand are currently just filled with ink to around the same amount. Like this part of the hair here and this are the same tone pretty much. And I believe that was from the other one of these pens. But it's like, when you get there, you just make the mid-tone, you do a bit of the cell shading method, and then you can go in chiaroscuro, add all the different values and color transition points if you wish. Though honestly, that was a pretty good contrast shift. Like, I think if we just... It's a risk to do this, but I'm gonna pull that up and then treat this as, like, the lighter mid-tone. Can I do actually have an empty one. So if I can get some water into this without throwing water everywhere, it'll be possible to transition this a little bit. Just a little bit. Alright. I get water in this guy. One sec. Water! Okay, we have water. Water acquired. Alright, can I just, like, please? Oh, you're gonna fight me. You're going to fight me, aren't you? No, you're not gonna fight me. We're gonna be cooperative. There we go. I just barely managed to move some of the ink a little bit. Though, I think what I might be able to do is kind of do like a back and forth between the two. So then I can just like pull the ink. Nope, it was not not the winning move. I see. I mean, it was worth a shot. Not entirely unsuccessful. Still not as successful as I'd like. But hey, it's something. Okay, now let's add water to here on the hand first in that upper bit. And then we're gonna just add this little bit like meow. Spread the ink. It's not gonna be super dark. We're gonna be chill. Kind of. It's close enough. Alright. Well, we tested the theory. What if I do a wheel? Okay, what if? Oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna do water. It went terribly wrong almost immediately. You know what? Cool. Oh my goodness. Okay. We're just gonna keep on going. Just keep swimming. Somehow this has worked better. Makes no sense, but sure. Go for it. Go for it! Oh my gosh. Okay. Boom. Magic Kazam. That works. That makes sense. This is how alphabet works. Okay, this is gonna be super dark for a bit because there's lots of ink. So I'm just gonna attempt to balance out the shading here. Oh, goodness. Okay, look at that. What do you know? It kind of works out. Wow. As much as I'm a rainbow gremlin, I do love my ink drawings. It's so relaxing to just go to like grayscale. Because then it's like you can sit and focus on textures if you're doing like an up close drawing. And it's just really chill. Like, it can be so relaxing to just repetitively draw cacti textures and make them into like rabbits that are cacti. Sometimes you just want to make rabbit cacti. Ooh, and I can do this. And kind of like pull that down through the different sections of the wing. Yeah! Oh yeah. Beautiful. There's always a question of like, what is the purpose of art? There were baseline like storytelling concepts of like, it's how you deliver information and stuff in the past. But I think that's much to dissuade the power of art, whereas it's not actually a weak argument, in all honesty. Just because we don't have the same base operations of like structures in power things in life, or like systems for governance, doesn't take away the power that art has. I feel like so often we act like art is no longer as important because it's like, we have all these other things. It's not the main way of delivering information in society, etc. And it's like, no. That is such a bold lie. Because the things that people are most scared of in this world are oftentimes art. And, I mean, I've been enjoying To Be Hero X, even though I'm sometimes perplexed and just like, please, tell me what's going on, series. Hopefully we'll find out soon. I think it was episode 2 or 3? I don't remember which, but essentially, their whole explanation on why this villain was like so powerful and like threatening, and it's not because of like their actual like physical strength or might. They were said to be that much more terrifying and like worse. And the power was they have really good like intellect. They have an imagination and they can spin a tale however they want. And that's kind of the main thing with art. It didn't have to be literal. It didn't have to be reality. It's usually so much more easier to extrapolate a concept through art and express it in a roundabout way that it's just like, it's so much more powerful to change people's minds, to show them something they didn't believe possible. As a googly eye attempts to fall off my face. Stay on my face! Oh my gosh. Thank you. And that's the thing. Art is that imagination power to see beyond whatever the current point in reality is, to rewrite it, to write a new future. And that's the scary thing. It's that the vision and goal for our worlds, our life, our existence, it's the fact that that can just be taken over by AI instead of made, shaped, and created by humans. That's what gets me. Because the idea of like art, a beauty, a value, that's what sets the ships to sail to a war for like, oh, was it the Helena from like one of the Greek cities that said like those thousands of ships sailed to catch her or bring her home or whatever. Like, it's the whole reason why art was so instrumental in, like, public persuasion for war efforts and stuff. It's uniting in a goal, an idea, a value, a vision. And we get so swept up in things at times that we act like that's not a power. We act like it's not powerful or important. It's, for better or for worse, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The image is worth 1,000 words. It didn't have to say anything explicit or direct. It was a call to action, all the more powerful by the display of just humanity. And when humanity is removed from such equations of the creation of such things, and it's just like, well, are we doing it right? I gotta be honest, I don't even know who that is. We already have a bit of a preset goal here. I may not have said it directly, but essentially... Oh. Bah. Essentially, this entire setup and drawing session plan, I have faced this from the start knowing what was going to happen at the end of it. The whole point of this was, I'm gonna sit and waste a bunch of my time. Oh. Me trying to remember names of characters and peoples and things, I struggle with that. The whole point of this was to just essentially waste my time caring about art and making something just to destroy it. Yup. That's right. I've spent all this time making something that it's honestly, as chaotic as it is, I've enjoyed this. It's fun, it's interesting, and I'm gonna just light it on fire at the end. And I think it's honestly a fitting end. I mean, if there is an interest in like a character drawing stream and stuff, that is something that we could do in the future. Because I must say, it's always the best time when it's like, instead of whatever face images like you have, I used to do face painting for kids, and it's like we'd have these base images. It's like, do you want this or that? And then the kid would just be like, I want a dinosaur. I was like, hell yeah, let's dinosaur it up. Because then I just got to like create something from scratch for them, and they were so happy. So alas, I think we'll have to do a character drawing stream at some point. Because honestly, I just need more like anime exposure and stuff as well. I always feel like an old grandpa. I only know some specific things. Like, the only reason I know of the new season of To Be Hero X is because I already knew of the trailer of it for like 2 years at this point, and I've been like kind of checking in here and there to see what's going on and when it was coming out. Because I was so pumped when I saw the trailer. I was like, oh my gosh. Legend. I threw a marker at myself. It's fine. But yeah, it's one of those things of... we take art so much for granted now that we have access to so many materials and tools, and we can see it all the time. And we realize that we sometimes forget what makes it so special. And that's why we gotta just sometimes take our moments in nature versus a walk with a destination. Go for the journey instead of out for the victory. Or out for the goal. Yeah, I think we gotta pull in a little more shadows here. Alright. Okay, this... Any last lines that need to be bumped up a bit? Maybe right here, just to define that a little more. For the most part, I think, aside from the crinkling of the paper from the water and ink that went everywhere, it's pretty much hit the end point. So maybe this upper bit needs a little more flow and direction. Oh. Alright. Check external devices. Blah. Because phone is out of commission. Says that. Phone is VTuber model, so. Checking external devices. Pew. Oh my goodness, devices awaken. Aww. Fluffy. Oh yeah, the ink really has gone everywhere. Like... Okay, oh, as I hit the lamp. Alright. I will attempt doggo. 1. Okay, paper, you're gonna behave and, like, stay in place. Yeah. Okay. Attempt dog. It's a fluffsky, as in a fluffy husky, from a movie. Alright. Nose first. It's got the Disney eyes. Oh no, how do I... It's kind of done like that soft, round top doe eye. And then it does like the bloop bloop boop. With the inner that has a single light point. And that does kind of an underline, but it's just in color transitions. But since it's a black and white, I'm gonna just add it in like that. Me attempting to try and figure out dog from reference image at a gigantic angle. I can't see anything pretty much. I'm like, this is kind of what it's looking like. Boom. And then there's like a part in colorways at the top. So it does like this part to center line, I think. Kind of like bump. And fluffy ears. You cannot forget the fur baby's fluffy ears. Although, the original image is keeping them fairly unfluff. Though sometimes that's just the animation style ways. Which, respect. Animating stuff that has a lot of layers is painful. This is why VTubers are 2.5D, I swear. If you had to constantly like draw every single frame of a VTuber moving, oh man, it'd just take years. Painful. I don't want to imagine it. Because then I'm just going to convince myself that I want to do that, and I'm like, no, that is such a time sink. With no guaranteed return. Don't do that, me. I think the head just kind of like squares off. But some side profiles like collapse it, which makes it very confusing to figure out. Because it's like, I'm mostly seeing images of the face at the side profile. And so now it's just like, how do I translate this? There's like, there's floofiness to them. She got the floof. It's just I don't have a good reference floof. And there's like there's color transitions in the floof. So it's like floofing out, and then it floofs like back in. Man, dogs are mysterious. I've only ever had like doodles and a schnoodle, so I know mysterious fluff. There's just always fluff, no matter what you do. There's always fluff from the dogs everywhere. Oh, I guess the little shirt ascot thing is like a normal outfit piece for them. Alright. We got the little ascot. Boom. We got some dog. It got the floof. And I should definitely like floof that out again. I can't say I fully understand the leg floof transition. I think it's like the outer color and then it goes straight into like just white fur. But we'll make it work. It's a floof in action. Floof powers. How do I make the front face like chill and floof without too floof? You know what? Contentably floof. I feel it went a little scrunkly at the end, but hey. I don't draw dogs normally, so... And I have a very specific way that I usually draw them, which is definitely not this style or manner. Yeah, I think the answer was this had to come up more and smoosh into the face, whereas the underneath had to be more of the shade again. So it's like this has to be shaded part underneath the main face. better describe the depth. Except this is the actual, like, colored part of the fur out here. Whereas the inner part is. True, true. Makeup and pixie dust. Okay. As someone who has put fish in makeup, like, not a living fish, it was a dead fish that I took on a date. Don't worry about it. Like, I've learned a thing or two on how to give random animals makeup. Although most of it was just fish puns, like Finscara. Oh. Oh yeah, so that's the section, that's the ascot. And this is where the colored floof ends. Yeah, I don't have a good colored piece to do the ascot in, so we'll just kind of like... This is a separate color. Yes, yes, indeed. This is obviously bright red. Oh, yes, indeed. Magic glam. Okay, makeup. Honestly, this dog is like kind of a classy gal I'm going with. So she's just gonna have like soft eyeshadow type deal. I don't think lipstick would really make sense for her. Like, it's just a hassle for dogs. So I'm gonna go with like a gentle blush. And while surprisingly I don't have my absurd collection of pixie dust and glitters around, or at least not on hand. Oh, I should do the nose as well. Oh. I can say I do have the option of Wooblam, gel pen, iridescent glitter gel pen. So we'll do like the classic blush lines. And then we go boop, boop. Extra shiny bits for the pixie dust. Although I feel like we should do some for the shadow. Just like stipple it. Little dot pointillism techniques. So that's like actual like sparkle flecks in the eyeshadow. I'm so sorry, microphone, if you hear the constant tapping. Can I make the lighting show it better? Yeah, okay, there we go. See, look, now it's like shiny. There, the makeup is glistening and glowing. I'm putting a sparkle on the nose too. And we can add just like some sparkle dots for the lips, because maybe it's like you could put a gloss on there. I used to have to put Vaseline on my dog's nose because you get like a really dry nose. So I feel like this kind of works. Honestly, it's kind of sweet. It's cute. I forgot to do the inner ear fluff though. Inner ear fluff, you're supposed to be the darker floof color. There we go. And now I can say I have drawn Jenna the Fluffski from the Balto. I think the movie is called Balto. Yay! Oh, now this is not in the line, but you know what? It's fine. She's got some floofy attitude. There we go. And then strengthen that line. And that. Oh, it reminds me of Alma and Yuki Wolf Children a little bit. It's so cute. Well, we have one cute fluffy doggy. Meow. And whilst I can't conjure up pixie dust, we can still sprinkle some. Yeah. Sparkle. And we got this bagongalonk. And this is not gonna be what I expected or hoped. But I knew what I was getting myself into. The dog is not being sacrificed. It's fine. Just this one. So, I'm gonna leave this, and then I'm gonna have to, like, VTuber fall asleep whilst I go and burn this. BRB. Meow. Ashes to ashes. Was not expecting this. I thought, oh, I must be able to, like, collect the ashes. Nope. It was not that simple. Oh dear. Oh my. Yeah, it was not quite as simple. But hey, we do the best we can. And then I have to make sure that I have this going correctly. Now we play Find the Scene that has the thing. Oh, it's gonna be angry about my phone? Huh? Hmm. Well then, fine. If it's gonna be angry... Is there a way for me to adjust the playback speed? Huh. Well, either way, say goodbye to the drawing. Oh, as the ring light obscures everything, of course. It took a while to burn it to a crisp. But alas, it was burnt. And it's safely put out. It's in the fountain. Don't worry about it. But yeah, all that time, all that work, right up in flames. Torn to pieces, right up in flames. People can have their AI, that's fine. And I can have my art choices. And this was my choice. I'll hopefully collect some of the remnants into the cauldron after. But yeah, alas, it was satisfyingly burnt to smithereens. It's my time, it's my choice. And I can waste it how I choose. I don't think it was a waste, though. I'd say very much quite the opposite. I think it was a rather meaningful gesture. A gesture worth sharing. And with that, I have but one last explanation. What is the point? We gotten really lost in the sauce? Did we really get busy hung up with all the pieces fall apart? Well, I think it's about time we put them back together again. Instead of staying silent and giving all of our power away, even if it's heard by no one, it's time to say things for ourselves, for our own sake. I've watched my life fall apart many a times. I let the pieces all collapse, and I don't say my bit. Because I already have my answer, and I didn't see the point in giving that to others when I had not the energy for myself. Alas, the energy is back, and it's time to stop getting tangled up and lost in the sauce. Be it AI or not, it's kind of missing the point. When we look back in time, we ask, what were they thinking of? What were they questioning? What was the philosophical debates? What was the art? What was the architecture? What was the culture? And I think that's where AI kind of misses the point. Sure, it can be fun to have, I don't know, a plethora army of dancing frog images or something at any point that you can just make happen. At the same time, it's not really the point of art. It's not really the point of culture. It's just a fast delivery of an idea. But what is an idea without the thought put into it, the merit? It's a placeholder. AI can be a tool. AI can be used to make images, not seemingly ethically at this point. But that still misses the point of art. And I think that's kind of the biggest confusion. You're asking someone to care of your thoughts, of your vision, of your idea, to see your world, to see your view. Throwing that into an algorithm or some sort of system for AI, does the AI actually think about it? Or does it just take a standardized idea, conception? It doesn't care. It doesn't care how you feel one bit. You asked for a frog, and it gave you what is supposedly a frog. And that's where we're missing the point yet again. You're paying someone to care. Paying someone to bring a vision to life. To connect to your experience and move it into something visible or tangible, or I don't know, maybe you're crafting a scented potion concoction. You're asking for that translation. You're asking for a little universe to be born. And if that little universe is just worth throwing a frog into a word box, then okay, that's your choice. But it's not where we should put our focus and our energy. Not one bit. And that's where I say, in the most over-the-top fashion, I'll destroy my work if I darn well want to. Because if no one else thought it was worth it, then so what? What does it matter? It was still enjoyable for me. It was still meaningful. And I'm not gonna let it end or stop. It's never been the point to me. No one else could see whatever it is that I see, or envision, or feel. And so, whatever way it has to be done to get there, I just had to figure it out and learn it for myself. To make the animation, to make the graphics, the audio, the sound, whatever physical sculptures, outfit, props, makeup, designs, whatever meh gremlinness that had to be done. And that's what I did. And that's also what I do. So yeah, things happen. And that's neither here nor there. What matters is, what do you want to do? And what is there to be done? The choice is yours. Of what you value, of what matters, what's important, what care or time you give to something, or what you exchange for care and time. It's your world. It's your universe. What would you like it to be? And what moves it closer to that? So, let it be what it be. And the cards will fall as it may. Though I know, for one, I'm a pen and ink girly, here to stay. Because nothing beats writing my notes out on pencil, to paper, and drawing by hand. It's still always a really comforting thing. So I hope you're back and ready for a new era. One with more cats meow. And some googly eyes. Maybe gremlins. Probably fluffy. But enough about me. What would you like to see? What are you going to see? That's all for me. Welcome back to whatever it is that the universe is. Me. Bye-bye. War. Bye.